Remembering a loved one's favorite holiday, an introspective Halloween story. The text messages arrive throughout the afternoon, each one a cheerful invitation to Halloween festivities. Party at Jake's tonight. Costume required. Come to the bar crawl. We're doing a group costume. Horror movie marathon at my place. BYOB. Claire reads each message as it appears on her phone screen, the notifications lighting up with friendly persistence, and to each one she types the same gentle decline. Thank you, but I have plans tonight. Have fun. She doesn't explain what those plans are. Her friends wouldn't understand, or they'd try to talk her out of it, insisting that what she needs is distraction, company, normalcy. They mean well, always do, but they don't understand that tonight Claire needs exactly the opposite of all those things. Tonight she needs solitude, stillness, and the particular kind of company that only memory can provide. It's been 7 months since Grandma Dorothy died. 7 months since Claire held her hand in the hospice room and felt the moment when breath simply stopped, when presence became absence. When the woman who raised her, who was more mother than grandmother, more friend than family, more home than any house, left this world for wherever people go when they're done being here. 7 months, and this is the first Halloween without her. The first October 31st, when Claire won't call Grandma in the morning to wish her happy favorite holiday, won't drive to her house to help with decorations, won't sit beside her on the couch eating candy corn, Grandma's inexplicable favorite despite Claire's annual protests that it was essentially sweetened wax, and watching Practical Magic for the 1,000th time, while Grandma quoted her favorite lines and laughed at all the same moments she'd laughed at for decades. The apartment around Claire is quiet in that particular late afternoon way, when the world outside prepares for evening activities, but inside there's only stillness and the amber light of October sun slanting through windows. Her apartment is small, a one-bedroom in an old building with good bones and radiators that clank comfortingly when heat cycles on. She's lived here 3 years, and Grandma visited often, approved of the neighborhood, the high ceilings, the window seat where sunlight pooled. Grandma will never visit again. That reality hits Claire anew several times a day, the shock of it never quite dulling despite 7 months of practice. Grandma won't call tonight like she used to, voice delighted and mischievous, reporting on trick-or-treaters' costumes. Won't text photos of her own elaborate house decorations, the orange lights she strung across the porch, the inflatable ghost she set up in the yard that the neighborhood kids loved. But Claire can honor her, can remember her, can spend this Halloween doing what Grandma would have done, experiencing what Grandma loved, maintaining the connection that death has transformed but not severed. That's what tonight is for. Not parties with friends, not drinking and dancing in costume, but a quiet, private ritual of remembrance that feels more necessary than breath. She stands, setting her phone down, and moves to the closet where she's stored the boxes. 2 cardboard boxes labeled in her own handwriting. Grandma's Halloween. She brought them home after cleaning out Grandma's house in the grief-stricken weeks following the funeral, couldn't bear to donate or discard these particular items. These objects her grandmother touched every October. These things that mattered to someone who no longer exists in physical form, but persists everywhere in Claire's heart and memory. Opening the first box releases a smell, cardboard and attic, and something ineffably Grandma, maybe her perfume lingering on fabric. Maybe just the scent memory creates when grief demands it. Claire sits back on her heels, breathing it in, letting the wave of emotion wash through rather than fighting it. This will be hard, she knows. Tonight will hurt, but it will also heal in that strange way grief works, where pain and comfort exist simultaneously, where crying feels terrible and necessary, where missing someone is how you keep loving them. The first item she lifts from the box is a string of orange lights, the old-fashioned kind with large bulbs that glow warm instead of the newer LED brightness. Grandma strung these across her porch every year, and Claire strings them now across her apartment's front windows, plugging them in and watching the amber glow transform the room's quality, making everything softer, warmer, more magical. Halloween magic. That's what Grandma called it. Not the scary horror movie kind of magic, but the older kind. The harvest celebration kind, The thin veil between worlds kind that made death less frightening because it suggested continuation rather than ending. Grandma believed in that magic with the sincerity of someone who'd lost enough people, husband, sister, parents, to need to believe love persisted beyond the grave. "I'll see them again," she used to say with perfect certainty when she spoke of her dead. Not sure how or when or where, but love doesn't just stop because a body does. That wouldn't make any sense. Love is the whole point, sweetheart. It's what we're here to do, and to feel, and to give. So it has to continue. Otherwise, what's the point of any of it? Claire, arranging orange and black garland across the mantel, wonders if Grandma was right. Wants desperately to believe she was right. That somewhere, somehow, Grandma still exists and still loves her and is somehow aware of this night, this honoring, this ritual of remembrance. "I hope you can see this, Grandma," Claire says aloud to the empty room, and her voice sounds strange, too loud in the silence, but also right. Necessary. "I'm doing Halloween your way tonight, just like you loved it." The decorations continue to emerge from boxes. Paper bats that Grandma cut by hand decades ago, the edges softened with age. A ceramic pumpkin that held candy on her coffee table every October. Candles in glass holders decorated with autumn leaves. Each item placed with care, with intention, with memory attached like invisible threads connecting object to person to past. Outside the window, daylight continues its fade toward evening. Children's voices drift up from the street. The early trick-or-treaters, the little ones going out before dark. Claire pauses in her decorating to watch a family pass below her window. Parents flanking a tiny princess and an even tinier dinosaur. The children clutching plastic pumpkin buckets, their voices high with excitement. Grandma would have loved seeing them. Would have pressed her face to the window and laughed at their costumes and insisted Claire guess what each child was dressed as. For years, Halloween night at Grandma's house meant sitting by the door, ready to leap up each time the bell rang, to hand out candy and compliment costumes and make each child feel special, seen, delighted with themselves. Claire has turned off her porch light tonight, the universal signal that she's not participating in trick-or-treat distribution. Some neighbors might judge that choice, might think her a Halloween Scrooge, but they don't understand. She's not rejecting Halloween. She's celebrating it differently, privately, in a way that honors the person who taught her to love this holiday in the first place. The decorating complete, Claire steps back to survey the transformed apartment. The orange lights glow warmly in the windows. The garland drapes festively across the mantel. The ceramic pumpkin sits on the coffee table, and Claire has already filled it with candy corn, Grandma's inexplicable favorite, purchased this afternoon specifically for tonight. The scene isn't elaborate, isn't Instagram-worthy, but it feels right. It feels like Grandma. "What do you think?" Claire asks the empty room, speaking to the presence she both does and doesn't feel. "Does it look good?" No answer, of course. There never is anymore, and the silence where Grandma's voice should be is the hardest part of grief, the thing Claire still hasn't accepted and suspects she never will. But speaking aloud to Grandma helps somehow, makes her feel less absent, maintains the connection in whatever form connection can take now. The next task requires more emotional preparation. Claire moves to her small entertainment center where DVDs are stacked. She kept them even after getting streaming services, kept them because some movies matter too much to risk losing if they leave Netflix. And at the front of the stack, placed there deliberately this morning, sits Practical Magic in its plastic case. Grandma's favorite movie. Not just liked, not just enjoyed, but loved with a depth usually reserved for real people. She watched it every Halloween without fail, could quote vast stretches of dialogue, owned both the DVD and VHS versions, knew every song on the soundtrack. When people asked why she loved it so much, she'd say it was about women loving each other, sisters sticking together, magic being real, death not being the end. "It's about love being stronger than death," Grandma explained once, her voice serious in that way that meant she was saying something important. "Those sisters lose so much, but they never lose each other, not really. Even when Sally thinks she's lost Jillian, the magic, which is really just love, brings her back. That's what I believe, sweetheart. Love is the real magic, and it's stronger than anything, even dying." Claire hasn't watched this movie since last Halloween. Hasn't been able to face it, knowing it would hurt too much, would make Grandma's absence too real. But tonight she's ready. Tonight she's choosing to remember rather than avoid, to feel rather than numb, to honor Grandma by doing what Grandma loved. She takes the DVD from its case. Grandma preferred DVDs to streaming, liked the ritual of selecting and inserting the disc, liked the tangible quality of physical media, and places it in the player. The TV screen glows to life, showing menu options, and Claire navigates to play movie, but doesn't press it yet. First, the complete ritual. Grandma had a specific way of watching this movie, a set of conditions that had to be met. Claire recreates them now with ceremonial precision. She arranges the couch cushions exactly so, 3 across, the middle one slightly forward. She retrieves from her bedroom the blanket Grandma crocheted years ago, soft and warm and smelling faintly of lavender, because Claire stored it with dried lavender sachets. She places it on the couch, folded and ready. From the kitchen, she gets a glass of water. Grandma always had water nearby when watching movies, and sets it on a coaster on the coffee table. Next to it goes the ceramic pumpkin bowl, now filled with candy corn within easy reaching distance. The orange lights at the windows cast their warm glow. The other lights in the apartment she turns off, letting the television and the string lights be the only illumination, creating the cozy darkness Grandma preferred for movie watching. "I think it's perfect, Grandma," Claire says to the quiet room. "Just like you liked it." She settles onto the couch, pulls the crocheted blanket across her lap, and immediately has to pause, breathe, steady herself against the wave of emotion. The blanket smells like Grandma. Or maybe it just smells like home and comfort and love. And Claire has associated those smells so deeply with Grandma that they're indistinguishable. Either way, pulling this blanket around her feels like being hugged, held, comforted by the person she misses most. "I miss you," she whispers into the blanket's soft folds. "I miss you so much it physically hurts sometimes." Is that normal? Does grief always feel this heavy? She knows the answers intellectually. Yes, it's normal. Yes, grief is heavy. Yes, this is what loss feels like, and it's universal and human and shared by everyone who's ever loved anyone. But knowing intellectually doesn't make it easier emotionally. Missing Grandma is a constant ache in Claire's chest, a weight she carries everywhere, a sadness that colors everything, even when she's laughing, even when she's happy, because underneath all other feelings is the fundamental truth. Grandma is gone, and Claire would give anything for one more conversation, one more hug, one more Halloween together. But since that's impossible, since death is final in all the ways that matter, Claire does what she can. She presses play on the remote. The movie's familiar opening music fills the apartment, that ethereal, mystical soundtrack that sounds like autumn and magic and sisterhood. The production company logos flash by, and then the opening scene. Young Sally Owens learning about the family curse, learning that any man an Owens woman loves is doomed to die. Grandma used to talk through movies, providing commentary, sharing observations, quoting favorite lines before they happened. Claire found it annoying as a teenager, wished Grandma would just be quiet and let her watch. She'd give anything now to hear that commentary, that beloved voice interrupting, that presence beside her on the couch. Instead, there's only silence, and Claire's own voice saying quietly into that silence, "This is the part you loved, remember? When they show all the Owens women through history? You said it reminded you of our family, all the strong women." Saying it aloud helps, makes Grandma feel less absent somehow, as if speaking to her maintains connection, even if there's no reply. Psychologists call it continuing bonds. The theory that healthy grief doesn't mean severing connection with the deceased, but rather transforming that relationship, finding new ways to maintain bonds across the veil of death. Claire learned about continuing bonds theory in the desperate Googling of early grief, seeking anything that might explain or ease the pain. She learned that talking to the dead is normal, healthy even, that keeping their possessions brings comfort, not pathology, that maintaining traditions and rituals in their honor helps the bereaved process loss, while keeping loved ones present in memory and spirit. So Claire talks to Grandma as the movie plays, shares observations, quotes favorite lines a beat before the actors say them, laughs softly at the funny parts, because Grandma's laugh would have filled this room, and the absence of it is its own kind of presence. Here's the part where they make midnight margaritas, Claire says as that scene approaches. You always said you wanted to make midnight margaritas with me someday when I was old enough. But I was never brave enough to suggest it, and then you were gone. Regrets are part of grief too. All the things left undone, unsaid. All the moments that seemed infinite when someone was alive, that reveal themselves as terribly finite only in hindsight. Claire regrets not making midnight margaritas with Grandma. Regrets not watching this movie more often, not visiting more frequently, not saying, "I love you," as much as she felt it, not understanding until too late that time was running out. "I'm sorry," she says to the empty room, to the grandmother who isn't there to hear it. "I'm sorry I took you for granted sometimes. I'm sorry I thought we had more time. I'm sorry for every time I was too busy or too tired or too wrapped up in my own life to fully appreciate how lucky I was to have you." The tears come then, as Claire knew they would. Not dramatic sobbing, but quiet crying, tears sliding down her face while the movie plays on, while Sally and Jillian navigate their cursed existence, while love and magic and family and loss play out on screen the way they play out in real life, messy and complicated and beautiful and terrible. Claire reaches for the candy corn, takes a small handful, and eats it slowly. It tastes exactly as it always did, overly sweet, waxy texture, that distinctive flavor that most people hate but Grandma loved. Claire never understood the appeal, still doesn't, but eating it tonight is an act of love, of remembrance, of maintaining connection to someone who loved this inexplicable candy with inexplicable devotion. "This is for you, Grandma," Claire says around a mouthful of candy corn, and she's crying and half laughing at the absurdity of it all. "I'm eating your terrible candy and watching your favorite movie on Halloween night. Because I miss you and I love you and I don't know how else to keep you with me." The movie continues its familiar arc. Sally falls in love with the doomed Michael, loses him to the curse, raises her daughters alone, closes herself off from magic and love and vulnerability. Jillian runs away, falls in love with the wrong man, gets trapped in an abusive relationship, calls Sally for rescue. The sisters reunite, accidentally kill Jillian's boyfriend in self-defense, try to resurrect him, fail, deal with possession and hauntings and the literal ghosts of mistakes they can't undo. It's a movie about love and loss, about family and magic, about women supporting each other through impossible situations. It's about death not being the end, about bonds that persist beyond the grave, about believing in magic even when the world insists magic isn't real. Grandma loved it because it reflected her beliefs. She truly thought love persisted after death, that connections continued, that the people we love never truly leave us. Whether that's literally true or just a comforting story we tell ourselves, Claire can't say. But tonight, wrapped in Grandma's blanket, eating Grandma's candy, watching Grandma's movie in exactly the way Grandma would have, Claire feels something. Presence maybe, or memory so vivid it approaches presence, or the power of ritual to create connection where physics says none should exist. "I think you're here, Grandma," Claire whispers into the flickering darkness. Maybe not literally, maybe not in any way I could prove or explain, but I feel you here with me. Is that real? Or am I just creating it because I need to believe it's real? No answer comes, but Claire didn't expect one. The comfort isn't in answers, but in questions asked aloud, in voice speaking to silence, in maintaining the habit of conversation even when only one person remains to have it. The movie reaches its midpoint. Sally discovers Jillian is still alive, possessed but alive, and the sisters work together to exorcise Jimmy's spirit. The scene always scared Claire as a child, the possession, the dark magic, the violence. But Grandma loved it because it showed love being stronger than death, showed sisters willing to do anything for each other, showed that even when you think you've lost someone, love might find a way to bring them back. Claire pauses the movie, needing a break from the emotional intensity. She stands, stretches, moves to the window where the orange lights glow warmly. Outside, Full darkness has fallen. Halloween night is in full swing. She can see families still walking the sidewalks, teenagers in elaborate costumes, adults accompanying children from house to lit house. The world continues. Life goes on. People celebrate and laugh and live. Even when your world has ended, even when the person you loved most in the world is gone. Claire understands this intellectually. Of course, the world doesn't stop for personal grief, but emotionally it still surprises her sometimes, how everyone else just carries on when she feels like she's drowning in loss. But she's not drowning tonight. Tonight she's remembering, honoring, connecting. Tonight she's choosing to feel Grandma's presence through ritual and tradition rather than mourning her absence through avoidance. It's a different approach to grief, one that her friends might not understand, but that feels right to Claire, that feels like what Grandma would have wanted. "You wouldn't want me out at some party pretending to be okay," Claire says to the window, to the reflection of her face ghostly in the dark glass, to the grandmother she imagines standing beside her. "You'd want me to feel what I feel, to honor you, to remember. That's what tonight is, Grandma. It's all about remembering you." She returns to the couch, but before restarting the movie, she takes out her phone and opens a document. Writing to the dead, another grief strategy she learned about, another way to maintain continuing bonds. She's tried it before, short notes and thoughts, but tonight she wants to write something more substantial, more complete. "Dear Grandma," she types with her thumbs. "It's Halloween night, and I'm spending it exactly how you would have. I'm watching your movie, eating your candy, surrounded by your decorations. I'm trying to feel close to you, because I miss you more than words can express. I've been thinking a lot lately about what you said about love being the real magic. I want to believe you were right. I want to believe that even though you're gone, even though I can't see you or hear you or hug you anymore, we're still connected. That the love we share doesn't end just because your life did. I don't know if you can read this somehow, wherever you are. I don't even know if there is a wherever you are, or if death is just nothing. But I'm writing to you anyway, because it makes me feel better. Because maintaining our relationship, even in this one-sided way, is better than letting it die completely. Thank you for raising me. Thank you for loving me unconditionally. Thank you for teaching me to love Halloween and magic and books and all the things you loved. Thank you for being the best grandmother, the best mother, the best friend anyone could ask for. I'm so grateful I got to have you in my life, even though I wish I could have had you longer. I love you. I miss you. I'll love you forever. Claire." The tears are flowing freely now, dripping onto the phone screen, blurring her vision. Claire sets the phone aside and lets herself cry, really cry, in the way she's been holding back for weeks. Not the controlled, socially acceptable tears she allows herself in private moments, but the deep, racking sobs that come from the center of her chest where grief lives, where the grandma-shaped hole exists that nothing can fill. She cries into the crocheted blanket, muffling the sounds, even though no one is here to hear, even though she could scream if she wanted, and the only witnesses would be walls and memories and possibly, if Grandma was right about such things, the loving spirit of someone watching over her with concern and compassion, and the eternal wish to comfort that mothers and grandmothers carry into whatever comes after life. The crying eventually subsides, as it always does. Grief comes in waves, Claire has learned. It rises and crashes and pulls you under. But it also recedes, leaves you gasping but alive on the shore, capable of breathing again even if your chest aches and your eyes burn and your heart feels bruised by the force of feeling so much. She wipes her face with the blanket. Grandma wouldn't mind, would have been the first to offer it for such purpose, and takes several deep breaths, grounding herself in the present moment. The apartment still glows with orange lights. The movie waits, paused on a frame of Sally and Jillian standing together. The candy corn sits in its ceramic pumpkin bowl. Everything she's created tonight remains, holding space for her grief, allowing it, not trying to fix or minimize or rush through it. "Okay," Claire says aloud, her voice hoarse from crying. "Okay, I think I'm ready to continue." She restarts the movie, and the familiar story resumes. The sisters perform their ritual to break the curse, calling on the spirits of all the Owens women who came before them, acknowledging their lineage and legacy and the strength that comes from being connected to something larger than yourself, to family, to history, to the long line of women who loved and lost and survived and thrived despite everything. Grandma loved this scene especially. "That's us," she used to say, pointing at the screen where generations of women stand together. "That's our family. All the strong women who came before us, who survived hard things, who loved fiercely. We come from that. We carry that strength in us." Claire thinks about that now, about the women in her family line. Her great-grandmother who raised 7 children during the Depression. Her great-great-grandmother who immigrated alone to America at 16. The grandmother before her, and before her all the way back through time. All these women who faced loss and hardship and kept going, kept loving, kept creating families and raising children and building lives even when life seemed determined to break them. Grandma is part of that line now. Part of the ancestors, part of the women who came before. Part of the strength Claire can draw on when she needs it. The thought provides some comfort, that Grandma's story isn't ended but transformed, that she's joined something larger, that her love and wisdom and strength persist as inheritance, as legacy, as the bones that support the present generation. "I'm going to be okay, Grandma," Claire says to the quiet room, to the movie playing, to whatever might be listening. "Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. I'm going to carry you forward in my life. I'm going to remember your lessons, honor your memory, tell stories about you so others remember you too. You're not gone, not really. You're just differently present." The movie approaches its end. The townspeople come together to defend the sisters, acknowledging the Owens women's power and worth. Jillian stays in town instead of running away. Sally allows herself to love again, to believe in possibility, to open her heart despite knowing she might lose everything, because love, even temporary, even painful, is worth the risk. The final scene shows Sally's daughters playing in the backyard, suggesting the continuation of the Owens line, the persistence of magic and love through generations. Credits begin to roll over the soundtrack's ethereal music, and Claire sits in the flickering darkness feeling wrung out and peaceful in equal measure. "Good movie," she says to Grandma's absence, knowing what the response would have been. "Always is, sweetheart. That's why I watch it every year." The ritual isn't finished. Grandma had other Halloween traditions beyond the movie, smaller acts that made the night special, and Claire follows them now with the devotion of someone preserving sacred practices. From the kitchen, she retrieves the ingredients for one of those traditions. Apple cider and cinnamon sticks, the specific brand Grandma always bought, heated on the stove until the apartment fills with the scent of autumn and sweetness and childhood memories. While the cider warms, Claire lights candles, not scented candles, but the simple white tapers Grandma preferred, placed in holders around the living room, adding their gentle glow to the orange string lights. Candlelight for the dead, Claire thinks, remembering that this is part of Halloween's original purpose. The old Samhain traditions of honoring ancestors, remembering those who came before, acknowledging that the veil between worlds grows thin at this threshold between harvest and winter. "For you, Grandma," Claire says as she lights each candle, "your light still shines. Your love still warms me. You're still here in all the ways that matter." The cider ready, Claire pours it into 2 mugs, one for her, one for Grandma's memory, and returns to the couch. She sips the hot, spiced liquid, and immediately she's transported to Grandma's kitchen on countless October evenings, doing homework at the table while Grandma prepared dinner, the air thick with the scent of cider and cinnamon, and the ineffable quality of being loved, being home, being safe. "Do you remember when I was 10 and tried to make the cider myself?" Claire asks the quiet room, smiling at the memory. "I used way too much cinnamon, and it was basically undrinkable, but you drank a whole cup anyway and told me it was delicious. You were always doing things like that, protecting my feelings, building my confidence, making me feel capable even when I clearly wasn't." She sets down her mug and picks up a photo album she'd placed earlier on the coffee table, another item retrieved from Grandma's house. another artifact of their shared history. The album's cover is worn, the pages slightly yellowed, and it contains dozens of photographs from Halloween's past. Here's Claire at 5, dressed as a princess, standing on Grandma's porch with a plastic pumpkin bucket. At 8, dressed as a witch, Grandma beside her in a matching witch costume, both of them grinning at the camera. At 12, too cool for costumes but still willing to hand out candy with Grandma. At 16, dressed as Wednesday Addams, Grandma laughing at the perfect deadpan expression. At 23, just last year, no costume but helping Grandma hang decorations, the last Halloween photograph they'd ever take together. "I didn't know it was the last one," Claire whispers, touching the image of Grandma's face in that final photograph. "You look tired, but I didn't realize how sick you were getting. Or maybe I didn't want to realize. Maybe I thought if I didn't acknowledge it, you'd somehow be okay." But Grandma wasn't okay. By Christmas, she'd been diagnosed. By March, the treatments had failed. By June, she was in hospice. By July, she was gone, and Claire was left with photographs and memories and grief so enormous it felt like drowning. "I would give anything for one more Halloween with you," Claire says to the photograph, tracing Grandma's smile with her fingertip. "One more night of candy corn and movies and your terrible jokes and your wonderful laugh. One more chance to tell you I love you and actually understand how precious that moment was, instead of treating it as something that would always be available." But that's the nature of life, Claire knows. We never recognize the last time for what it is. The last hug, the last phone call, the last I love you. They pass unmarked, camouflaged as ordinary moments. And only in hindsight do they reveal themselves as thresholds, as endings, as the final chapter of a story you didn't realize was concluding. She closes the album carefully and sets it aside, then picks up one more item from the boxes of Grandma's Halloween things. A book, slim, leather-bound, worn at the edges. Grandma's Halloween journal, where she'd written every year for decades, recording her thoughts and observations about the holiday, her beliefs about death and magic and the thin veil, her reflections on what Halloween meant to her. Claire has read portions of it before, but tonight she opens it to the last entry, the one Grandma wrote last Halloween, less than a year ago, when she was already sick but still insisting on celebrating, still determined to have one more October 31st doing what she loved. The handwriting is shaky, showing the tremor that had developed in Grandma's hands, but the words are clear. Halloween 2023. "I don't know if this will be my last one, but I'm treating it as precious regardless. Spent the evening with my beautiful granddaughter Claire, watching our movie, eating our candy, talking about everything and nothing. She doesn't know how sick I am. I haven't told her yet. Don't want to ruin her life with worry. But I look at her and I think about all the Halloweens we've shared, all the traditions we've built, and I'm so grateful. So very grateful. If this is my last Halloween, I want Claire to know something. I believe the veil is thin. I believe love persists beyond death. I believe I'll still be with her in all the ways that matter, even when my body is gone. So don't grieve too hard, my darling girl. Don't let my death diminish your joy. Keep celebrating Halloween. Keep watching our movie, eating our terrible candy, believing in magic. Because love is the real magic, and ours will never die. Keep me alive by remembering me. Keep me present by continuing our traditions. And know that wherever I am, whatever comes after this, I am still loving you with every particle of my being. Death is just a doorway, sweetheart, not an ending. I'll be waiting on the other side, and until you get there, I'll be right beside you in spirit, in memory, in the love that never dies. All my love, forever and ever. Grandma Claire reads through tears, through the blur of grief and love intertwined, and she understands now why tonight felt so necessary. This isn't morbid wallowing. This is exactly what Grandma asked for, remembering, honoring, continuing their traditions, keeping her alive through ritual and love and the deliberate choice to maintain connection despite death's attempt to sever it. "I'm doing it, Grandma," Claire says, her voice breaking. "I'm keeping you alive. I'm remembering you. I'm celebrating Halloween exactly how you would have wanted. And I promise, I'll do it every year. This will be our tradition now, mine and yours, living and dead together, connected across whatever barrier separates us. She closes the journal and holds it against her chest, over her heart, and she feels something shift inside her. Not the grief disappearing. Grief doesn't disappear. She understands that now. But grief transforming slightly, becoming something she can carry rather than something that crushes her. Grief as love's continuation, as the price of having loved someone so much that losing them tears a hole in your heart. But that hole can be filled with memory, with ritual, with continuing bonds. That hole can become a sacred space where Grandma lives on in all the ways that matter. In Claire's heart, in her memories, in the traditions they shared, in the love that persists beyond the grave, because love, as Grandma always said, is the real magic, and magic doesn't die just because bodies do. The candles burn lower, the orange lights glow steady. The apartment is warm and peaceful, transformed by ritual into a sacred space where the dead and living meet, where memory becomes presence, where grief becomes love, becomes connection. Claire returns to the photo album, looking through it more slowly now, telling Grandma the story of their life together through the images captured there. Birthday parties and Christmases, ordinary days and special occasions, the accumulation of moments that make up a relationship, a history, a love. "Remember this one?" Claire asks, pointing to a photo of them at the beach, both laughing at some forgotten joke. "You were 73, but you still went in the water with me. You said you were never too old for ocean swimming. You said staying young meant staying willing to get your hair wet and your feet sandy." Another photo. Grandma at her high school graduation, beaming with pride, holding a bouquet of flowers. "You were more excited than I was that day. You kept telling everyone your granddaughter was going to college, first one in the family. You were so proud of me, always, even when I didn't deserve it." Another. The two of them in the kitchen making Thanksgiving dinner, both wearing ridiculous aprons and covered in flour. "This was the year the turkey caught on fire, remember? We laughed so hard we cried, and then we ordered pizza and decided it was the best Thanksgiving ever, because perfection is overrated, but laughter is priceless." Story after story, memory after memory, Claire speaks them aloud, giving voice to the past, keeping it alive through narrative. We become stories when we die. She read that somewhere, maybe in a book, maybe online. We become the stories people tell about us, the memories they keep, the anecdotes that get shared at family gatherings. Claire will keep Grandma's stories alive. Will tell them to her own children someday, if she has children. Will pass down the traditions, the wisdom, the love that Grandma gave her so freely. That's how people persist beyond death, through the impact they had on others, through the love they shared, through the stories that get told and retold until they become legend, until they become the family mythology that shapes future generations. The clock on the wall shows 11:30. Halloween night nearly over, November approaching, the holiday giving way to the ordinary days that follow. But Claire feels no sadness at the approaching end. She's done what she came here to do. She's honored Grandma, remembered her, maintained their connection, proven to herself and to whatever might remain of Grandma's spirit that love persists. Bonds continue. Death transforms relationships but doesn't end them. She gathers the empty mugs and the candy corn bowl, significantly emptier now despite her dislike for the candy, and takes them to the kitchen, washes them by hand, the way Grandma always did, rejecting the dishwasher in favor of the meditative quality of warm water and soap and the simple satisfaction of making things clean. "I'm going to keep your traditions alive, Grandma," Claire says to the quiet kitchen, to the memory of countless meals prepared here together. Not just Halloween, but all of them. Sunday family dinners, even though it's just me now. Your Christmas cookie recipes, your spring garden rituals, your birthday celebration every April. I'll still bake your favorite cake, still sing happy birthday, still honor the day you came into this world and made it better by being in it. Returning to the living room, Claire begins the process of ending the evening. She blows out the candles one by one, thanking each flame for its light, for its symbolic connection to Grandma's enduring presence. She unplugs the orange string lights, watching the warm glow fade, the apartment returning to normal illumination. She folds the crocheted blanket carefully, holds it to her face one more time to breathe in its scent. Grandma, home, love, before setting it aside. But she doesn't pack away the decorations. Those will stay up for a while, she decides. Through the weekend at least, maybe longer. They transform the apartment into a space that honors Grandma, and Claire isn't ready to return to normal decor, isn't ready to erase these visible reminders of the evening's purpose. Midnight approaches, the threshold between Halloween and November, between the sacred night when the veil thins and the ordinary days when the dead remain firmly separated from the living, or at least when we pretend they are, when we don't acknowledge the ways they persist, the ways love transcends death, the ways grief is just another form of connection. Claire moves to the window one final time, looking out at the dark street below. The trick-or-treaters are all gone, returned to homes with their candy hauls. Porch lights have been turned off. Jack-o'-lanterns still flicker on doorsteps, but most are burning low, nearly extinguished. The neighborhood settles into post-celebration quiet, the annual ritual complete, the holiday passing into memory until next October when it will rise again, as Halloween always does, as all beloved traditions do. Thank you for tonight, Grandma. Claire whispers to the window, to her reflection, to whatever might be listening beyond the veil. Thank you for teaching me to love Halloween. Thank you for all our traditions. Thank you for believing that love persists after death, because that belief is what's getting me through this grief. I believe you're still with me. Maybe not the way you were when you were alive, but in some way. In memory, in love, in the continuing bond that death changed but didn't sever. She feels it then, or thinks she does, or needs to believe she does. A warmth that might be presence, might be love, might be Grandma somehow reaching across whatever separates them to offer comfort, to say without words, I'm here. I'm still here. I'll always be here as long as you remember me, as long as you love me, as long as you keep our traditions alive. Good night, Grandma, Claire says softly. Happy Halloween. I'll see you next October. And in all the moments between, when I remember you, when I honor you, when I love you, which is always, I'll love you always. The clock strikes midnight. Halloween officially ends. November begins. The sacred gives way to the ordinary. Except Claire understands now that the sacred persists if you let it, if you carry it forward, if you refuse to let death convince you that love ends when heartbeats stop. She prepares for bed in the quiet apartment, moving through the familiar routine, washing her face, brushing her teeth, changing into pajamas. Her eyes are swollen from crying, but her heart feels lighter, clearer, more at peace than it has in months. Tonight was exactly what she needed. Not avoidance or distraction, but direct engagement with grief, with memory, with the person she's lost and the love that remains. Climbing into bed, pulling up the covers, Claire feels exhausted but satisfied. She did right by Grandma tonight, honored her properly, remembered her well. And in doing so, she's honored herself too. Her own need to grieve, to process, to maintain connection in whatever form connection can take now. Her phone buzzes on the nightstand, probably friends checking on her, making sure she's okay, maybe still trying to convince her to come out. But Claire ignores it. Tonight was about quality of presence, not quantity of people. Tonight was about being with Grandma in the only way that's possible now, through memory, through ritual, through love that persists beyond the grave. She closes her eyes, and in the darkness behind her eyelids, she sees Grandma's face, not as she was at the end, worn down by illness and pain, but as she was in her prime, smiling, laughing, eyes twinkling with mischief and wisdom and unconditional love. That's how Claire will remember her. That's the Grandma who lives on in memory, who persists in spirit, who remains present through the continuing bond that death transformed but couldn't destroy. I love you, Grandma. Claire whispers into the darkness, into the silence, into the space where Grandma both is and isn't. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for everything. Thank you for loving me so completely that even death can't diminish it. I'll carry you forward in my life. I'll honor your memory. I'll keep our traditions alive. You're not gone. You're just differently present. And that's enough. It has to be enough. And somehow, miraculously, it is. Sleep comes gently carrying her into dreams where Grandma is alive and laughing where they're together again. In that impossible way dreams allow, where death is just an inconvenience temporarily overcome by the subconscious mind's refusal to accept permanent loss. And perhaps somewhere, in whatever realm the dead inhabit, if such a realm exists, Grandma smiles, pleased that her granddaughter honored their traditions, kept their love alive, understood that bonds persist beyond death if we choose to maintain them, that grief is just love with nowhere to go except inward, into memory, into ritual, into the deliberate choice to remember rather than forget. Halloween ends, but love continues. October gives way to November, but memory persists. The dead are gone, but not absent, lost, but not erased, separated by death, but still connected by love that refuses to die just because bodies do. And in a quiet apartment where orange lights glowed and candy corn was eaten and a favorite movie played and candles burned for the dead, a young woman found peace in ritual, comfort in tradition, connection in memory, and the certain knowledge that her grandmother, though gone from this world, remains present in all the ways that matter, in all the ways that love makes possible, in all the ways that grief, when honored properly, transforms from wound into wisdom, from pain into peace, from ending into continuation. The night settles, the city sleeps, and somewhere in the liminal space between memory and presence, between past and present, between grief and love, a grandmother and granddaughter remain connected, their bond unbroken by death, their love persistent beyond the grave, their relationship transformed but enduring, proving what Grandma always said: love is the real magic and magic never dies. If this story brought you comfort tonight, if it helped you remember your own loved ones with love rather than only sorrow, please consider showing your support with a like and subscribe to Deep Sleep Stories Hub for more quiet nights and restful journeys. May you sleep deeply, knowing that those we love never truly leave us, that grief is love's continuation, that memory is presence, and that the bonds we create in life persist beyond death in all the ways that matter. May you honor your loved ones by remembering them well, by keeping their traditions alive, by allowing grief to become not a burden but a testament to love that was real and remains real, differently perhaps, but real nonetheless. Good night, and may your dreams be filled with all those you've loved and lost, together again in that impossible, beautiful way that dreams allow, proving that love transcends all boundaries, even the final one. Sleep well,